Hey everybody, this is David here, aka Chessman, and I'm back continuing my series where I go through all the chess openings. And last time, what we've been covering is the Roy Lopez, which is e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5. And what we've been covering, first we covered the Berlin, which is knight to f6, and then we've been covering the Morphy defense, which is a6. And last few videos we covered uh, bishop to c4, bishop to e2, and bishop takes knight. Actually, wait a minute. Yes, so we covered bishop to c4 and bishop to e2. Today we're covering bishop takes knight. All right, so bishop takes knight. Now, there's only two responses. There's b takes c6 and d takes c6. And basically, they're both playable, but d takes c6 is the main move. In my notes over here, if you take with the d pawn, white has an advantage of about 0.28. If you take with the b pawn, you're giving white advantage of about 0.71. So it's a much higher advantage if you take with the b pawn for white, so it's not advised. I'm going to show you one line if you decide to play it that way. I'm going to show you the best way to play it. But we're mainly going to focus on d takes c6, since that's the best move. All right, so let's cover. If you haven't already, please subscribe and yeah, just subscribe. You can, if you have some comments, you can put those in the comments. I usually I've okay. Basically, I just want to say I'm really excited to make these videos, especially these specific ones in this specific series, because I believe this is really going to help. I think there's about, of my viewers, there's about 10% of you who are willing to put in the hard work to learn lines and to master the opening, and so you'll have the edge in a game and get a time advantage or just a better position straight out of the opening. And I'm really excited because I know this information is really good, and I'm excited that I have the ability to obtain this information, and I haven't seen this in any other chess videos yet. The closest I've seen is hanging pawns, but still, this information, like he covers all the known theory. I'm covering both known theory and unknown theory, so that's where it's different. But I recommend watching my videos and hanging pawns. That's what I recommend. But yeah, I'm really excited. I know it's a lot of information. If you ever did any kind of acting in school, then a part of you is used to learning lines, and that's kind of what this is like. You're learning openings, and so you write it down, you put it on a chessboard, and then you just do it over and over and over until it's in your brain. And to me, that's fun. If you're an actor, part of you thinks that's fun. And so if you can just if you can get yourself into that mode, then it's not that big of a deal. It's not that much information. So I'm trying to put it in bite-sized chunks, but there is a lot of information. So try not to feel overwhelmed. If you're a strategic thinker, then maybe you can figure out which specific lines you need to learn so you don't have to learn all of them. You could just stick with the best ones, or you could choose the ones that aren't played as much. Yeah, you gotta use strategy, and I think I'm gonna create another series where I go into the strategic thought process of picking your openings. So I might do that as well. But okay, let's get to this. So first we're gonna cover b takes c6. If b takes c6, the best move that white can play is knight to c3. Then the best line is queen f6, d4, e takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop b4, castles kingside, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, knight e7, rook b1, c5, e5, and queen h4. If you play this line, this gives white about a 0.60 advantage. So it's still not recommended. It's recommended you take with the d pawn. This is the best you can get. But if your opponent doesn't know the opening, then you might get the advantage anyways. So it's still totally playable. So if you want to throw your opponent off guard, maybe he's always used to playing against d takes e6. You could do this as if you think you're a better chess player than your opponent just knows the opening better, then you could throw him off by playing this line. All right. So now we're going to move on. Okay. So if black takes with the d pawn, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 good moves that you can play, that white can play. White can play castles, d3, knight c3, h3, c3, a3, d4, b3, queen e2, and c4. And that's, according to the engine, I put this the best to worst. So if you want to write this down, you can. Maybe that's enough information for you for one video. Maybe you just want to learn that and just realize you have 10 different options as white, and maybe then you can strategically think which one to learn. Is it better just to go with the best one? It is the most played. There's about 10,000 games with castle kingside, and the rest is about 1,500. So because there's so many games with kingside castles, we're gonna cover that first. And I put every good response black has against kingside castling, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 good responses from black. All right, and so the first option is black can play the best move according to the engine. They're all playable, so it's kind of weird saying one is better than the other. They're just different. The only reason why I say it's better is because the engine slightly thinks it's better, but it doesn't really mean anything. All right, so because the engine changes its mind as well. As you put more moves in, it will change its mind. So the engine isn't foolproof yet. Maybe in another 10 years. But all right. So the first move that's playable and is probably recommended is queen f6. And if black plays queen f6, white should play d4, then e takes d4, bishop g5, queen d6, knight takes d4, bishop e7, bishop takes e7, knight takes e7, knight c3, bishop d7, knight b3, and queenside castles. So this, to me, looks like a very calm position. Both knights are out. The bishop and knight out for black is out. And everything's nice and calm. So it's a pretty even game, and everything's nice. So this is totally playable. But again, most likely, if you know this and your opponent doesn't, you're going to get an edge. This probably won't show up on your game. Your opponent will most likely have done a different move, and then you'll probably get the advantage because they're not playing the perfect moves. So that's basically the strategy we're going for. If your opponent plays perfect, then it's an even game. If your opponent doesn't, then you have the edge. All right. So that's after castles, queen to f6. The next best move, according to the engine, is f6. And if your opponent plays f6, you should again play d4, then e takes d4, knight takes d4, c5, knight e2, queen takes d1, rook takes d1, bishop d7, bishop e3, queenside castles, knight b to c3, b6, rook d2. And this gives white a plus 0.16 advantage, so very slight advantage. 0.16 means it's less than a quarter of a pawn advantage, so it's really even. So again, I think this looks better for white because white's minor pieces are all out. Black still has to develop a couple pieces, and this rook's already getting ready to develop to the d file. But everything's perfectly all right for both sides. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so instead of queen f6 or f6, then the third best move according to the computer is queen to d6. Now, if black plays queen to d6, then you should play knight to a3. Then black should play bishop to e6. Then you should play queen to e2. Then c5. Knight to c4. And let me just highlight this for you so you know. Whoops. One second. Gotta be careful not to delete it. Let me just highlight it. That way you know which one we're going over. Alright, so knight to c4, then bishop takes c4, queen takes c4, knight e7, knight to g5, queen to f6, d3, h6, knight f3, and b6. So this is another way you can play. And again, most likely your opponent won't play these exact moves, so you should get the advantage. But it's totally playable. So again, I'm showing you all the lines there is. Well, there's always more lines. I mean, if you put this in an engine and you dissect each move, I'm sure there's more playable lines, but these are the best moves that you can play. So you're still going to have, this is just, the point of all this is just to give you the edge, knowing what the best moves are. So if your opponent plays the best moves, you're set. But most likely your opponent won't play the best moves, and then you got to play chess. You'll have the confidence knowing, okay, I've played the best moves, my opponent has not. And that should give you confidence. And by studying these, you should have an idea of where the chess pieces belong, even if your opponent plays different moves. Alright, so that was queen d6. The next move that they could play is bishop to g4. And if black plays bishop to g4, you should play h3. Black should play h5. You should not take the bishop. You should play d3. Black should play queen to f6. You should play knight b to d2, and g5. H takes g4. H takes g4. Rook e1. G takes f3. Queen takes f3. Queen to g7, and knight to c4. Again, there's tactics that you had to see. So it would have been a mistake to take the bishop right off. So you got to avoid that. So this could be a great line to play if you're black, because your opponent will probably, I don't know, maybe they'll take the bishop, and maybe you'll get a quick mate. Or a quick advantage. So if you want to add a surprise to your, but again, if they're pretty good, they'll probably see it. But who knows? So this may be a secret weapon you might want to have in the back of your pocket. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next move. All right, so instead of bishop g4, they could play bishop e6. If they play bishop e6, you should take with the knight. Knight takes e5. Then there's queen d4. knight f3, queen takes e4, rook to e1, queen to g6, knight to d4, queenside castles, knight takes e6, f takes e6, d3, and knight f6. And this gives white plus 0.21 advantage, so again, hardly anything. And yeah, white still has some developing to do, so does black, but it's an interesting position. This pawn is isolated. That might be a weakness. To me, it does look like white has the slight edge, but it's totally playable as black as well. All right. So let's go to the next move. All right. So the next move that you can play is, or your opponent could play, is queen to e7. If they play queen to e7, you should again play d4. Then e takes d4, queen takes d4, queen to c5 is the best move. The best move here is queen takes c5, bishop takes c5, then bishop to f4, then bishop to d6, bishop takes d6, c takes d6, rook d1, and knight f6. So again, it's a matter of taste. Do you want a position where queens are off the board so soon? Maybe not. Maybe not. It's the best way to play, but maybe realistically keeping queens on the board might be strategically better if you think you're better than your opponent. If you're playing against a stronger opponent, then maybe getting queens off the board is the right way to play. But it's up to how you feel. So it's good to know this line, just in case you want a position where queens are off the board. But so again, what's great is if you can memorize, if you can learn all these options, then you have so many options to go to at your disposal, while your opponent won't have any. Most likely they're not studying any of this. So get the edge, take time to learn these lines, and then you'll dominate. You'll at least dominate the opening. Then again, it's up to you how you play the rest of the game, but you should have a nice time advantage for the rest of the game, maybe a 2-minute time advantage. And that could mean the rest of your game you're taking 10 extra seconds for each move, which means you have 10 extra seconds to look at the move while your opponent doesn't. So you should at least, if you're playing against a better player, you should at least hold the draw, and against an equal player or less, you should win. All right, so let's keep going. So that was queen e7. Next move is bishop e7. If black plays bishop e7, you should take the pawn. Knight takes e5. And black should play queen d4. And knight f3. Queen takes e4. d3. Queen f5. Rook e1. Bishop d7. Rook e5. Queen g6, bishop f4, queenside castles, queen to d2, and b6. Again, another interesting position. We got the rook out, which is unusual, but black has the two bishops, so maybe that's an advantage. The computer says this is plus 0.19 advantage for white. So again, according to the engine, it's pretty much even. But who knows? These knights still aren't developed yet. We don't know what's going to happen with those. We don't know. Maybe the bishop gets on this diagonal and is really powerful. Maybe. Maybe the knight just jumps here and it blunts the bishop. But it's an interesting position. But so that's bishop e7. The next move after bishop e7 that's playable is bishop to d6, defending the pawn. If black plays this, you should play d4, then e takes d4, queen takes d4, f6, knight b to d2, bishop e6, b3, knight e7, knight c4, c5, queen to c3, castles kingside, knight takes d6, and c takes d6. And this gives white a plus 0.16 advantage. Again, practically nothing. And I don't know, this bishop could go here, here, or anywhere on this diagonal, except here or here. The rooks have an open file they could go to. Maybe just put the rooks in the center. Not really sure where these rooks should, where black's rooks should go yet. Maybe the knight wants to jump around, or here. Maybe expand with the b pawn. Yeah, so there's some play in this position. And again, it's an even game. But again, most likely your opponent won't play the best moves, so you should get the advantage. All right. So the last move that's playable is knight to e7. If black plays knight to e7, then you should take the pawn. Knight takes e5. Then black should go queen d4. Then you should go queen to h5. And black's pretty much only move is g6. Then you should go knight to f3, attacking the queen. Oh, let me highlight this so you guys know which one I'm on. All right, so after knight f3, queen should take the pawn. Then you should play knight c3, attacking the queen. Then queen to f5, queen to h4, bishop to g7, rook to e1, bishop to e6, d3, and queen to g4. And this is one of the least favorable ways for black. This gives white plus 0.38, still pretty much nothing, but it's still a higher advantage for white than a lot of the other options. I don't know, queens might come off the board here, and again, you'll have another position where queens are off the board. And if you want that, then if you're playing against a higher rated opponent, maybe you want that. So that's an option. If you're playing against a weaker opponent, maybe you don't want that, and then you don't play this line. But again, at least you have the option. Okay, so those are all the moves that you can play, that black could play against kingside castles. Now, since there are a lot less, so now we're going to go over the moves that isn't castles. All the other moves that you can play. So, let's see. So again, the other moves that we're going to cover are d3, knight c3, h3, c3, a3, d4, b3, queen e2, and c4. But there's a whole lot less games played from these moves instead of castles. So I'm only gonna include one line for each one. I'm only gonna include the best line from each one, because you can't memorize or learn every single line. That's just impossible. You have to pick what ones you're gonna learn, and you should just pick the best ones. So you should learn the best moves that can be played. That way, at worst case scenario, you're playing an equal game against someone. If someone else is also playing the best moves, then at least you are too, and then it's an equal game. And most likely, if you're both playing the best moves, since you already know the moves, your opponent most likely had to calculate and wasted time on the clock. So you'll probably have a time advantage. And again, this won't win all your games, but it will give you the advantage. And I think that's the best we can do, is give ourselves the advantage. And the rest, again, is up to our brains. Our brains, our mind, up to God, up to luck. If your opponent plays the best moves or not, if you can see tactics or not, if you can understand position or not, that's up to you. But what we're doing here is okay, as far as the opening goes, we got that down. But the rest of the game, the other 80% of the game, that's still up to your brain, your mind, God, luck, your ability to calculate, your ability just to see things, just to see tactics and position. So we can't cover 100% of the game, but we can at least cover the first 20% of the game, or the first 33% of the game. So that's what we're doing. We're doing the best we can to give ourselves the best advantage. Okay. So the next move we're going to cover is d3. So if white plays d3, then black should play queen to f6. Then white should play bishop to e3. Oh, let me just highlight this so you know which one we're on. All right, so bishop to e3, then bishop to d6, and c4, b6, queen to a4, knight to e7, b4, b4, b5, queen a5, bishop takes, b takes c4, then d takes c4, knight to g6, kingside castles, and bishop to e7. If you play this, white has a plus 0.30 advantage, so about a quarter of a pawn advantage. So it's just an edge. So if you play these moves, you will have the edge. And again, that's the best we can do. And if you're playing this from the black side, your opponent if you know this and your opponent doesn't, which he probably doesn't, you're probably going to get the edge. And again, that's the best we can do, is give ourselves an edge in the beginning of the game of chess. And then the rest of the game we have that edge, hopefully. All right. So if you don't play d3, or your opponent doesn't play d3, the next best move they can play is knight to c3. If they play knight to c3, you should play queen to d6, and they should play d4. You should play e takes d4, then queen takes d4, queen takes d4, knight takes d4, then bishop d7, and f3, then h5, h4, knight to e7, bishop to e3, knight to g6, and king to f2. And this would give white a plus 0.05 advantage. So again, practically nothing. Basically a completely even game. And again, that's if they play these best moves. So most likely they won't, and you'll have the edge. Okay. So the next move you could play as white, instead of knight c3, is h3. So after h3, black should play c5, then you should play d3, then bishop d6, then knight c3, knight e7, bishop e3, f6, knight to d2, bishop to e6, knight to c4, knight to c6, knight takes d6 check, queen takes d6, and queen d2. If you play this gives black actually a slight advantage, negative 0.14. So again, if you're playing from the black side, if white plays the best moves, then even at the best moves you'll get a slight edge if you're black. Again, the whole idea is but I don't think this information exists except in my videos right now. I don't even think they exist in books. So if you're learning this, most likely nobody else knows it except the people watching my videos. So do the work and put in the effort. That's my advice. Remember, chess is fun, but it's fun to win. It's even more fun to win. But learning chess is fun as well. Just like learning lines in a play or a movie, it's fun. Memorizing lines is fun. That's what I think. And if you can get in that zone where it's fun, then it becomes down to a science. And then learning lines is like nothing. And then once you realize how easy it is, then you'll have so much more fun in chess, because it's like being like really good at the openings in chess. It's like having a loaded gun. It's like you're fighting someone, but you have a gun and your opponent doesn't. They just have their hands. Like having mastery over the openings, it's like having a loaded gun or a pit bull. And again, your opponent has nothing. So, I mean, I don't like killing anyone. But when it comes to chess, I think it's fun. Okay, so where am I? Okay, so I just did h3. Okay, so now the next move that can be played from here is c3. After c3, black should play queen to d3. Then white should play queen to e2. Black should play queen to c2. Then castles kingside. Bishop g4. Queen e3. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. Castles queenside. d4. E takes d4. C takes d4. And this gives white a plus 0.07 advantage. So again, pretty much nothing. And I haven't really looked at this position from here. I do notice this pawn's hanging, but I also notice this pawn's hanging. And the bishop would be under attack, so I'm thinking this pawn's not takeable at the moment. So yeah, again, maybe you don't like a position where your opponent has their queen into your territory so soon. But if you know these lines, you can get out of it. Then it's playable. And you have two center pawns. But again, it's a very slight advantage for white, according to the engine. So there's others that we've looked over that give you a slightly better advantage. But again, most likely your opponent won't play this opening perfectly, and then you'll get a bigger advantage. And again, most likely they're going to be using more time on the clock. So, okay. So, we'll go back. So if instead of c3, the next move that they could play is a3. If white plays a3, then black should play c5. You should play d3. Then bishop d6. Well, let me highlight this. That's what we're going over right now. So bishop d6, then knight f to d2, then bishop e6, knight to c4, knight to e7, knight to c3, f6, bishop e3, knight to c6, castles kingside, bishop to e7, and f4, and then b5. This actually gives black a slight advantage, negative 0.30, so a 0.30 advantage for black. But again, most likely your opponent won't play the exact move, so you should still get the advantage. But yes, so it's up to you. Do you want to play something different? Maybe a3 will totally throw your opponent off, or maybe it'll think your opponent will will think that you're giving him a move by playing a side pawn. Maybe psychologically they won't think you're that good of an opponent, and maybe they won't play the best moves. I don't know, but it could throw your opponent off. Psychological warfare is part of the game. All right. So the next move after a3 that could be played is d4. If white plays d4, black should take. Then white should take with the queen. Then queen takes d4. Knight takes d4. Then bishop d7. Then knight to c3. Castles queenside. f3. Rook to e8. Bishop to d2. Bishop to d6. Knight d to e2. And f5. Again, this actually gives black a slight advantage, negative 0.25 advantage. So again, if you want to have every edge that you can get, then maybe playing this isn't for you if you have the white pieces. But again, it's just like at this point we already have so many options that we could choose that, I mean, this is the tough part for you and for me, deciding which one to play. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really know how to tell you which option that we've gone over that you should play. Like we're going over like 9 different options, and you probably only need like 3. But here's the information. Maybe again, some of you are really good at learning and want to know all the information, want to know all your options, so you have as many options as possible. So that way, in the moment, you just feel great. Like you can play anything. You play d4. You play a3, c3, h3, whatever. You can play anything. Like some people want that feeling. So I'm giving you all the information. And is it more information than you need? Probably. So those of you who don't feel like you can learn this much, you're going to have to use your other part of your brain, which is strategy, and figure out why to choose d4 or why to choose c3 or a3. Or is it best just to choose the first option? I'm really not sure. I'm thinking about it myself. So, but we're going to continue. We got 3 lines left, and then you can chill. All right. So if not d4, the next move that's playable is b3. If white plays b3, black should play f6. Then white should play d4. Then black should take. Then white should take. Black should take. White should take. Then bishop to d7. Then knight to e2. Knight to e7. h4. f5. Knight b to c3. And queenside castles. Again, these are just the best moves that you can play after b3. And this gives black a slight advantage, negative 0.05. Hardly nothing. It might as well be zeros. But it's just another way to play. So again, why choose this over another option? I'm really not sure. But if your opponent plays it, at least you'll be ready. So again, I'm probably going to create another series on how to choose which openings to study, or which lines to study in each opening. So in a position like this where there's 9 different options, which ones should you learn first, in which order? Should you only learn 5 options? And if so, which ones? I might have to come up with that series. But this series is about showing you all the information and giving it to you, and then you deciding with your own brain how to use it. All right. So the next move is playing queen to e2. If white plays queen to e2, then black should play f6. You should play d3. and black should play c5. You should castle. Then knight to e7, c3, knight to g6, bishop to e3, bishop to d6, knight b to d2, castles kingside, d4, c takes d4, and c takes d4. And this gives black a negative 0.32 advantage, so a little bit higher than a quarter of a pawn. Again, still playable. It's really nothing to worry about. Again, it's about what I would do is just play each one of these lines, look at the line, look at how the position looks to you, and just try to feel, is this something I'm comfortable with? And look at, maybe use the engine to show you what the best moves are from here, and just so you might, okay, there's like 3 different plans I can do in this position. Maybe you like white over black. Maybe you like black over white. And then, okay, as black I'll play it, as white I won't. But, so that could be one way. Like this, I like, okay, I can put the rooks on the c file. So that gives me something to do. That I like. I could always play a3, b4. Maybe that's a plan. Bring my rooks over here. Again, my opponent may not blunder, and this may still be an even game, but it's still something to do in the position. And sometimes that's what I like. I like it when I have something to do. Just like in real life. I like it when I have something to do, and instead of just sitting around. Like making chess videos. It's something to do. That's where life and chess are the same. We all, like, the way you play chess is the way you play life. Play it the way you like it. If you like it to be intense, play intense positions. If you like it when you just want something to do, like organizing your rooks, then do positions like that. So look at the position, and if it makes you calm, then play it. All right. So we got one more move to cover. Instead of queen e2, the last move, which according to the engine is the worst option, is c4. Why it's the worst, I'm not really sure. Again, I'm not a grandmaster. Sometimes I know why a move is good, sometimes I don't. But in these videos, I'm just giving you what the engine says is the best. So it's going to be up to you to figure out. Maybe I'll do another series where I talk about each move. Like I do analyze games and I talk about each and every move. So maybe I'll have to do that about these openings. So maybe that'll be another video. It's just there's a lot of openings to cover, so it's a real commitment to do a whole series. So like figuring out in which order to do them is a chore. But if I have time to do it, maybe I'll do it. Or hopefully a grandmaster out there will watch these videos and take it upon him or her to do it. All right, so the last move is c4. If white plays c4, then black should play knight e7. White should play d4. Then e takes d4. Queen takes d4. Queen takes d4. Knight takes d4. Knight g6. Bishop e3. Bishop b4 check. King to e2. Castles kingside. Rook to c1. And bishop to d6. And this gives, again, black a negative 0.41, which is the highest advantage for black out of all these different moves we've covered. But if you look at it, it just looks like a different position. Black has the 2 bishops, so that could be a long-term advantage. If you don't like it when your opponent has the 2 bishops, then maybe you avoid positions that give that. But again, I don't know. We know the knight can come here or here. And then you're in a middle game. And what are you supposed to do? Well, you're going to have to come up with a plan. And if you look at this position and realize, I can't really come up with a plan, then maybe this position's not for you. Maybe you got to choose one of the others. That's why I've given you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different options. Actually, with kingside castles, you got 10 different options. So now, if I put in the time, I probably could have given you maybe 20 different options. Like if I dissected like every move you could do from D3, then and have all the options for black, there might have been 5 options, but I don't I there's no way I could do this series if I did that. The reason why I went in depth with kingside castles is because the database said there's over 10,000 games with that move. So the other options, there was only about 1,000 games for each one of those moves. So again, you got to pick your battles. You got to pick which areas you're going to dive deep into and which not. You have to use your brain. The engine doesn't do it all. You have to use your brain. You got to use your brain when you're studying. Otherwise, you're going to waste time studying the wrong thing. So again, there's a lot of information. I believe all the information I'm giving you is good information. So I don't think it's a waste of time learning all of it. The question is, which order should you learn it? Which order is it the most valuable? Or maybe like I've given you like 10 moves in depth or like 12 moves in depth. Maybe you only need 7 moves in depth. So maybe you only memorize up to move 7. And that way, maybe you think your opponent won't play the right moves up to move 7. So that's where you got to use your head. I've given you the information, but it's up to you to decide how to use it. I'm going to try to create more YouTube videos where I give you tips and tricks on how to do this as I think of them, as I see them from books or from other chess videos or chess platforms out there in the internet. As I come up, then I'll make videos about it. But that's gonna do it for now. The next set of videos, we're going to cover the Columbus variation, which is bishop to a4, and this is going to take a lot longer to cover because there's so many variations that it may take 10 videos, maybe 10 short videos, because I like covering each one in a separate video. So each video may not be as long. Maybe it'll only be 10 minutes, but there'll be like 10 or 20 of them. Because and it sounds like a lot, and it is, but I do believe I at least I want to know all the variations. I want to be aware of all the variations. So I'm excited to do it, so that's why I'm doing it. And I hope there's at least 10% of you out there that are excited to learn it as well. So I hope you really enjoyed this. I know it's a lot of information, but there's just no way around it. So you have to treat it like it's fun. Like your brain is just ecstatic to learn so much information that it just loves it. So you gotta love it. If not, then at least just remember like maybe the first moves of each variation, and just be like, okay, I know this first move's a good move, and the rest it's just whoever's the better chess player. So you can do that as well. That should still give you an edge. But yeah, so you know what we're going to do next video. I hope you have a great one. Please subscribe so I can keep making more of these, and enjoy your day.